What is up, my tricksters? It's your friendly neighborhood Yu-Gi-Oh! Superhero coming back again with another Fun Deck Friday. We're going to be showcasing you guys my Shaddoll Tearalament branded deck. I picked up a new card, but before we get into that, Frank is going to tell you guys how you guys can support this channel. So go ahead, take it away, Frank, and then I'll see you guys when it's deck profile time.
Hello, tricksters! If you would like to support this channel, here's an easy way for you guys to do so. The best way for you guys to support this channel is first and foremost, check out that Your Playmat link in the description below. If you click on that, you get 10% off, and who doesn't want a little bit of money off when you get custom sleeves and custom mats and all sorts of cool stuff. So make sure you check out Your Playmats, as well as the Ben 10,000 yugioh merch store on the Spring store. Make sure you check that out too, because look at all this cool artwork. And if you scroll down enough, you'll see something really cool that I really want to promote. It's done with my face on it, right here. So go get something with my face. Or you can catch out any of this other cool stuff, activate Lost World, and get a cool Trickster shirt, let the whole world know that you're part of the Ben 10 gang with the Tricksters. As well as all these Omni-Man stuff. Alright, Ben, take it away!
Thank you, Frank. Alright, let's get into this deck profile. So first and foremost, one of the big reasons why we built this deck is mostly just because I picked up a brand new card. Because it was finally affordable. And I didn't really want to pick this up because I feel it's like it's going to get banned at some point. And I'm sure some of you guys are kind of guessing what that card is. But I'm going to go ahead and showcase you guys. And it is, I got a copy of Dragoon finally. Because there's an affordable print of this card. It's probably going to end up banned at some point because, you know, the TCG kind of mimics the OCG on a lot of these things. And I feel like that card is, you know, still a little too powerful for the game, but that's a discussion for another day. I just wanted to go ahead and build something that I can actually play it in, so this is what I built, and we're going to go over the deck profile, and I'm actually going to talk about a very specific card that Tearalament players are going to want, because I have a feeling you guys are about to get the axe on the next official ban list, and I figured you guys will want this particular tip. So first and foremost, we got the Dark Magician. You got to have it for Dark Magician if you want to pop stuff. Well, you don't have to have it, but if you want the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon to have a full range of his effects, you should at least play either Red Eyes or Dark Magician. So yeah, I got Dark Magician in here so he can actually pop, at least get one pop. But you don't have to do that. We got Shaddoll Beast, draw a card. It's also a Shaddoll, so we can get to our, you know, window. Sheeran, this card also just might get on the limited or forbidden list, so we'll see. I don't know if the TCG will follow the OCG exactly, although I do think there are Tearalaments that need cards that do need to be on the list, and this is very much based off of a physical deck that I actually own. So, do with that what you will. We got the Squamata. This is just to deck thin, basically. We got the Albaz. You need Albaz so you can make all your branded fusions. Spriggan's Kit, so that you can, you know, search out branded fusion. Armageddon Knight. You don't have to play this card. You can also play a third Spriggan's Kit or something, or if you have the Despia cards, you can play those too if you don't want to play these guys at all. I just like them, and Armageddon Knight is like a one-card Mud Dragons, which I think is kind of funny. Then we got our Harvness. This is another card that also might get hit on the next ban list, so keep that in mind, even though I think Konami's hitting some of the wrong cards in the Tearalament deck, which I will talk about that in another video. Alright, now this is the card I wanted to talk about for Tearalament players, because as you guys know, Kit Kalos, the main fusion monster that they all use, and everyone said, oh no, ban instant fusion instead. Yeah. So you need Kit Kalos to get to this card in the extra deck, which is Rukalos. But here you go. King of the Swamp was something that in the early stages of the deck that they were already playing, because it can search polymerization. So just play this, because this card will literally let you still make Rukalos. You don't have to have Kit Kalos to do it. You just ditch this. You get a polymerization. You'll fuse with something that's in your hand, or you'll eventually mill off one of your Tearalament cards, and then you can make that card. So just something to keep in mind down the line. It's also an Aqua, so it really kind of has a lot of synergy with the Tearalaments. Then we got Kios over here, another Shaddoll monster. This card is just a light monster for one of the branded fusions. Then we got Merrily, which is like the only like Tearalament's monster that's actually not on the chopping block, like besides the extra deck stuff. DD Crow, because I don't have any of the Bestial cards yet. Effect Veiler, because negation's important. Polymerization, funny enough, is actually a key card in this deck because it also lets you get your plays going. And it's a lot harder to negate than some of the other fusion spells. Then we got Branded Fusion, which we use strictly only because I wanted to play something with Dragoon, and I felt like this was the best thing to play, so... and it's fun. Although I don't like that Ash Blossom can stop this card, but, you know, it is what it is. Metal Foes Fusion! Okay, so we play a lot of cards that discard or ditch cards to do things, like with Super Poly, with Albaz, also with, like, you know, if you want to use Dragoon's effect. So we also mill a lot, so I feel like I kind of went old school Lightsworn builds. Well, old school, like 2014 builds, basically, and play Metal Foes Fusion, because if you mill this card, it's a +1 in these kinds of decks, because it's just, oh, look, I milled a card, now I spin this back and draw a card. Now I have one more card than I normally did. So that's just kind of cool there. Then we got Foolish Burial. You know, it's just, you know, Armageddon Knight and this card kind of serve the same purpose. You're trying to put Shaddolls, you're trying to put Tearalaments in the graveyard so that you can fuse. Monster Reborn, it's an extension, just an extension card. Book of Moon, this card's kind of good. It is a little bit helpful in certain situations. If your opponent doesn't have Ash Blossom, a lot of players are also playing Effect Veiler, are also playing Impermanence. You can use Book of Moon to combo with your Meryl, your Armageddon Knight, your Spriggan's Kit, you know, various monsters, so that you can still get the plays going, as well as put stuff face down on their side of the field, because sometimes that's relevant, because they need a specific monster to be on the field. Like, for example, you Book of Moon a level 2 monster, well, now the sprites can't come out, so it's just a fun little tech. You can try it. This actually did work for me, but you can try it for yourselves. Called by the Grave, because we fucking hate hand traps here. We all know that I can't stand like 90% of the hand traps that are in the game. So, Called by the Grave. Super Poly, the ultimate board breaker. This card is like one of my favorite cards. It is a necessary evil, in my opinion, in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh!, especially with the kind of boards that we are seeing lately. So, Super Poly, so we can break boards, continue to play the game, and tell our opponent, no, I get to at least have a turn. And it does make a lot of Edo Pro players mad when they see this. Then we got the one Tearalament Scream. This card is just like, oh, you play a Tearalament's monster, or there's Tearalament monsters in the field? Cool, mill extra cards. It's a really powerful card, and I really like having it, but I wouldn't play more than one, because you're not always going to have Tearalament monsters, so it's kind of funny. And also, you're probably going to want to keep that in mind going into the future, because, like I said, this deck's one of the decks that's probably going to get a whack on the ban list. So this deck will probably look a little different in its next iteration. Then we got Tearalament's Sulik, and this card is just it's basically it's just Fiendish Chain for Tearalaments. It's just, if you mill this card, it happens to like get you a Tearalament monster, and if you have a Tearalament monster in the field, you could send the Tearalament monster or another monster in the field, like a Shaddoll, and then you'll get to trigger effects. So it's really, it's a good card. It's also a monster negate, so it's really handy in that aspect. All right, now we get to the extra deck. We got the Dragoon, like I mentioned. This is the whole reason I even built this monstrosity of a deck for Fun Deck Friday, is because I finally was able to afford to pick one up, because I got one for like $10 or whatever. It was uber cheap for what it was, and I figured this card's probably going to get banned soon, because I'm pretty sure Konami's done making money off of it, and to be fair, I'm okay with that, because this card is really stupidly powerful. It's a possibility, because the OCG has it banned. I don't know if Konami TCG will follow it. I think Konami TCG will probably do more on Tearalament stuff than this, but if I'm being honest, because this guy's not as cracked up as he used to be. But who knows? Maybe if tiers are dropped down a peg and, they're out of the way, maybe he will be. I don't know. Then we got the Ice Blade Dragon. This card is it's part of the branded package. It's a non-target banish, destroy the field if they get rid of it. So yeah, it's a good card. Then we got the Tearalament's Rukalos. Like I said, we were using King of the Swamp to make this card. It's basically just a solemn warning on legs with a 3,000 attack, and then of course it says that other aqua monsters can't be destroyed in battle, which I think really sucks. I'm like, oh, you almost had the right kind of card, almost. If this guy would have just said, hey, if they'd have made this card to where it itself couldn't be destroyed in battle, I'd be like, ah, perfect. But can't make it too powerful, I guess. And then we got the Starving Venom. This is just to probably target Dragostapelia, because we can actually abuse this. If you have a Garura available, I would take this out and put Garura in there, because either way, but that way you don't have to have a different type of dark monster in your graveyard. But yeah, Tearalaments can still abuse Dragostapelia, because they can, if like you mill 2 Tearalament monsters, right, and you have another dark monster in the field, or you mill 3 Tearalament monsters, or for whatever reason, you could just, like, okay, cool, go make Garura, make, you know what I mean, or, yeah. Basically, if you can make Garura or Mud Dragon, it's just a free, sorry, my phone tried to mess with you. But, it's just a free Dragostapelia, which is a negate, which I like that, because this is one of the few decks that can actually just make this without, like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to use a Predator Plant package. You just, okay, cool. It's like contact fusing and free negation. So, that's why there's 2 of it, because it's also a super poly target. And then we got our branded targets, which are Lubellion and Albion. Lubellion is actually the better one out of the 2 right now, because Lubellion is, fun fact about the Lubellion, which is actually one of the perks of playing this particular card, is with the branded package, is Lubellion is shuffleback proof, basically, because one of the or banish proof. It's like, what do you call it, with the bestial monsters? That's one of the things you can do with, like, the bestials running around, like, and with D-Fissure and Macro. You're going to want to make Lubellion to do your branded fusion plays, because it's going to spin those cards that are banished back. It also, I think, to a degree, can mess with the Earth Fairy monsters, the Ishizu cards. I'm not 100% on that, so don't quote me there, but I think this one might be better. I just don't remember if they have the ability to respond or not. I think they do, but I can't remember. Then we got Winda here. It's just, if you get this out, it's super powerful. It's a really good floodgate, and they have to get rid of it before they can do anything else. Mud Dragon. I don't have a Garura available for this deck at the moment, because it's in my dinosaur deck, but the Mud Dragon is almost just as good. It's literally like, oh, cool. I'm an Armageddon Knight, mill, or play Kit Kalos with Foolish Burial, or any other, like, or just summon a Shaddoll, or whatever the mills happen to be. You make this guy, make the Mud Dragon, and then you can, if you get rid of another Tearalament's monster, it's like, oh, cool, fuse into Dragostapelia. So it's really easy to, like, just climb into it. It's kind of funny. Then we got the Time Thief Redoer. This card is just really cool, because it can trigger the effects of Shaddolls as well as the effects of Shirin here, or Shirin, because it's kind of weird. It's not like other Exceasement monsters, you know what I mean? Like, it's just activate and then detach as part of the effect, not part of the cost. So it's very interesting that that's how that works, but neither here nor there. It causes those guys to trigger off, which is very useful, as well as it can disrupt your opponent by messing up with the cards they were going to draw. I've seen this happen a number of times where I've, like, attached their card, and it's a card that it was like a combo piece that they were going to use in the next turn or something, and it's like, no, sorry. Codebreaker is just in case of Baguska, because we can just take 2 monsters and just, and it's uber easy to get 2 monsters in the field. So we basically have a way to out Baguska, so, yeah. Then we got Nightmare Phoenix, just pop back row. That's it. And then, of course, the sideboard is always whatever you think is best. I just threw some cards in here. Some of these cards were just, like, text I was messing with. Some of these cards were actual side cards. Zombie World right now is the only one that's in here that's an actual side card, because Fluanderies is still running around, and until we start to match the OCG a little more, Zombie World is kind of going to be a necessary evil for this deck as well. Because Fluanderies are stupid, and Konami didn't have the 2 brain cells to make those guys only search for Fluanderies cards for some reason. Konami R&D. You have some stupid smart people in your group, don't you? Anyway, that's a conversation for another day. Anyway, if you like this video, if you like the deck profile, make sure that you give me one of those thumbs up. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you're new here, consider subscribing. And if you guys want to see this deck in action, I'm going to slap the watch. We're going to throw some replay footage out there for you guys to take a look at on the tail end of this video. And, guys, I will catch you in the next one. Peace.